Hey everyone, how's it going? Sebastian here. Today I have a super awesome training for you. Today I'm going to show you how to manage your Amazon PPC effectively. More specifically, I'm going to show you ACoS management. A lot of times you'll see your ACoS go up for no reason. So I'm going to show you, or not for no reason I should say, but you will think to yourself, why is my ACoS going up? You know, if you haven't changed anything, this has happened to a lot of sellers. And so since we work with a lot of volume at ZonRush, managing clients from 1 SKU all the way to 30,000 SKUs, we have so much data available to us that I'm able to present this training to you in a neat format in order for it to be digestible and allow you to implement this information in your business. And actually, before I get into this, I also have a private Facebook group. There's a link below where you could request to join the private Facebook group. I put a lot of high-level training in that group. It's our close-knit tribe, and it's all for free. So if you want to be around like-minded Amazon sellers who also want to excel in this business, go ahead and join that group right now. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's get into the training. All right, so ACoS management. You know, when I'm going to go over scenario A and B, but before I get into both of these scenarios, I want you to think to yourself, these are also interchangeable with each other, okay? So I separated them for it to be more digestible, but these are interchangeable with one another, okay? So let's go ahead and go into scenario A. You know, you have some PPC campaigns, maybe they're doing okay for a little while, but then you're starting to see the ACoS start to go up. So this is gonna be a way for you to audit that, okay? A lot of times in scenario A, your ACoS begins to go up quickly because you don't have enough diversification in your match types. So what does that mean? That means that you'll have maybe one campaign, or maybe two campaigns, maybe an auto campaign and a manual campaign. And inside that manual campaign, you'll do one of two things. Or you can do both of these actually, but a lot of times newbie Amazon sellers will do this. They'll have one campaign. You know, they'll use a few software tools, get a few keyword ideas. Maybe they'll put 100, 200, even more keywords in one campaign. And generally, they'll use Amazon's default match type, which is just broad. Or maybe you have a few broad, you have a few phrase and exact, all inside one campaign. And that one campaign will have, you know, upwards of 200 keywords. And so the lack of diversification means instead of sellers splitting up those match types into different campaigns, they tend to just group them all together or just have one auto campaign running at all times. And so what you really want to do is you want to diversify those match types. You want to segment them into their own individual campaigns in order for you to maximize efficiency and in order for your product to show up in a lot more places at once for Amazon's different bid auctions. So they have a bid auction for the exact keywords, phrase, broad, and so you want to optimize for all of those, okay? Don't just put them in one campaign. And also, of course, product display ads. So you can get a list of your top 15 competitors, put your competitors' ASINs in a campaign in and of itself, and let it run as well. So that's another form of diversifying your Amazon PPC portfolio. Okay, so that's scenario one. Part one of A. Part two of A is too many keywords. So where this really gets sellers is that, you know, though on paper it might sound good to have 200 keywords in one Amazon PPC campaign, that's spreading yourself too thin and there's not a whole lot of concentration in that. So though you might get sales peppered in here and there for, you know, all these keywords, when you're really trying to audit why your ACoS is beginning to go up, maybe that's a sign that you have too many keywords in one campaign, okay? And with that being said, you have bleeders that are gonna be a byproduct of having too many keywords in one campaign. So if you have 200 keywords in a single campaign, again, on paper, it might sound good, but you're gonna get bleeders. So you're gonna have keywords that, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks that might not even have a sale, but yet they're running in the same campaign as maybe there's a few other keywords sprinkled in there that maybe you have an ACoS below 10%. So instead of turning off the bleeders, since there's so many keywords, Amazon sellers have to look through all the data constantly to see which ones are working and which ones are not working. So a more strategic way to approach this would be to, instead of having 200 keywords where you're gonna have some bleeders, why don't you just narrow it down to 50 keywords? That's our sweet spot at ZonRush. We continually are churning 50 keywords for all of our clients because anything more than 50 keywords, really you're spreading your budget too thin and you're not allowing for efficient spending. And of course, as an Amazon seller, you want to be as efficient as possible with your Amazon spending because you also want organic sales primarily. So you need PPC to push you higher in the search terms, but you also, primarily you're going to want organic sales, right? This is paid amplification for you. So if you don't have enough diversity, if you're just in a single campaign with one match type, and it's generally Amazon's default, which is broad, break that up into phrase, exact, auto, and broad, separate campaigns. Limit your keywords, don't have 200 keywords, bring it down to 50, and primarily, if you want to break it down further than that, only put 25 keywords, and those 25 keywords will also be the same across the board. So you'll have those same keywords, those same 25 to 50 keywords in an exact, broad, phrase campaign. You'll have the same keywords because you already know you're making sales on these 25 to 50 keywords, okay? So you eliminate bleeders, you're only putting in your high performers, and low conversions. So what happens is this feeds into itself. The lack of diversity usually means, you're not optimizing for the right placements. Too many keywords also, you're spreading yourself too thin, which is going to lead to bleeders. And bleeders are going to lead to low conversions in your campaign. So what sellers do is they're seeing, okay, look, they don't have enough diversification. There's too many keywords. Their ACoS is going up. So they just turn off the campaign. Or they'll just and then they'll try it again. So the low conversions are going to lead obviously to the low conversions, and the bleeders are leading into a jacked up ACoS. And the reason why you have low conversions is because you're allocating funds to keywords that are making you zero sales. So by thinning out your campaigns, you're going to now have higher conversions, and the more conversions you have, the ACoS is going to begin to go down, okay? So that's scenario A. Let's go ahead and look into scenario B, which is one of those situations that you have to audit. And this is very high level right here. And so I'm going to really break this down into detail because this one you can see, this one you have to do your homework to check, okay? But this one's very exciting once you become aware of the internal dynamics that are going on in this, okay? So again, this is going to feed into itself, just like scenario A. So if let's say your ACoS has always been good, generally speaking, you don't have too many keywords, you kind of know more or less how to, churn keywords, continually add fresh keywords into your campaigns, you've diversified a little bit, and let's say your campaigns are doing okay, right? But then from one day to the next, you begin to see that, or from 1 week to the next, you're starting to see your ACoS start to climb up. And again, with all things remaining constant, you have to see what variables have changed that are leading to this. And a lot of times, it might not even be this. Negative reviews. So if your listing just has received a few negative reviews, in Amazon's eyes, your trust factor is lowered. So if you get, a negative review or two, Amazon's trust factor is going to lower for your product, so they're going to give you less impressions. But not only are they going to give you less impressions when you have a negative review, but customers are not going to click on your product as often. So negative reviews are going to lead to a lower click-through rate. So if a customer sees your sponsored ad and you have maybe a 3.5 stars because you just got a few negative reviews, that's going to lead to a lower click-through rate. Now, what a lower click-through rate leads to are higher bids, okay? So Amazon's going to make you pay more money for bids because less people are clicking on your ad. So if less people are clicking on your ad, Amazon's going to show the ads that are making them the most money. Obviously, there's a very complex algorithm going on, but generally, the less people that are clicking on your ad via your total impression share means Amazon's going to make you pay more per bid. And if you're paying higher bids, it's generally going to lead to a lower conversion, because these two, lower click-through rate customers are saying, negative reviews, no thank you, I'm not going to buy, but you're still paying more for those ads. I hope that makes sense. So this is going to feed into itself. Negative reviews lead to a lower click-through rate, which leads to higher bids, which leads to lower conversions at a higher cost. So you'll still get conversions, they're just going to be much more expensive. And so that's one of those things that you really have to stay on top of your listing for. If you have negative reviews, this is probably why you're going to start to see your ACoS start to go up. So before you panic and want to turn off your campaigns, call Amazon, say, hey, what the hell is going on here? I'm going to give you 2 ways to mediate these situations, okay? So for scenario A, I just went over this, but you're going to want to leverage match types, add negatives. See, adding negatives is also very powerful, because a lot of times, especially in broad and phrase campaigns and auto campaigns, your keyword could, because of the way the title's structured, Amazon can put your product in completely different categories just based on, a few of the categories, just based on the keywords in your title. If the categories could be completely irrelevant to your product, but because there's a keyword in there that can also be applied to another category, you can potentially pay for clicks for no reason, because there's not a whole lot of negatives. You're not giving Amazon, a direction to lead your campaigns in broad and phrase. So by adding negatives, that also really helps you keep a lean, mean machine with your Amazon PPC. And of course, audit your campaigns and remove any bleeders. Okay, so if you have 200 keywords in a campaign and you're seeing, look, you've spent $15, $10 to $15 in a keyword, maybe more, that has had 0 sales, turn them off. It's telling you that people don't want the product for that keyword. Okay, so by removing the bleeders, adding negatives, and diversifying your match types, you're now giving Amazon more variables to work with when putting your product on the marketplace. Okay, now for scenario B, this one's very interesting, because what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to raise your bids. Because here's the thing, if you have a few negative reviews, you want to stay white hat. Don't do any black hat stuff. It's not worth it in the long term to get reviews. Just double down on Amazon PPC to get verified reviews. Okay, you're leveraging Amazon's marketplace to get you verified reviews. But if you have a few negative reviews, obviously look at those reviews, and if it's something pertaining to the product and you're seeing a common denominator with those negative reviews, on your next batch of inventory, make sure you have that the customer's complaints or whatever it is condensed into information that you can now give to your manufacturers to say, hey, look, make this better. Because there's no point in doing, and optimizing your listing if the product itself is no good, right? If the roots are not good, then you're gonna have to start over and make sure you get a higher quality product this next time around. But if it's a good quality product, then maybe there's something that you hadn't considered that customers are leaving you these reviews on. Take that data and give it to the manufacturer. Say, make my product better. It's that simple, okay? But besides doing that, to optimize on Amazon PPC, raise your bids is going to mean, by raising your bids, you're going to have, you're going to force Amazon to give you more impressions and clicks, and you're just basically going to buy your sales traffic, right? You're going to buy your sales velocity, because what you're going to want to do is get your sales velocity up, because you're going to want to follow up for reviews to get verified reviews in order to replace these negative reviews, to push them down the ladder, so to speak. So that's what you're going to want to do. You're just going to want to pay Amazon to get you more verified reviews, right? Jack up, if you have to lower your price a little bit, just a little bit, so you can increase your conversion rate, lower your price and just jack up the bids, and through volume, you're gonna get your verified reviews because you're just gonna get more sales volume. Though you're gonna pay for it in a short amount of time, who knows? You know, sellers always ask me, how long do I need to have, you know, a lower price and raise the bids? Well, as long as it's gonna take for you to get those verified reviews and bury the negative reviews, however long that's gonna take, okay? So I don't have a specific time. It could take 2 weeks, could take a month, you know? However long it takes, do it, because ultimately, if you keep the same bids and you're letting Amazon give you lower and lower conversions and click-through rates, then ultimately it's gonna feed into your sales rank overall. And if you're making less sales and you haven't done anything about your negative reviews to mediate it, you're gonna start to see your keyword ranking drop across the board as well. So it's very important that instead of, you know, just kind of waiting to see how things simmer, take proactive measures in making sure your Amazon business succeeds. And if it means paying just a little bit more temporarily, do so to remove these negative reviews and get those verified reviews back up, okay? And another thing that also will feed into a lower click-through rate are your images. So if from the get-go you've had a product that maybe has had low conversions or a low click-through rate, consider split testing your main image. Because if you can split test your main image, it could be maybe, you know, your product has everything the customer wants, but the image hasn't enticed them enough. Maybe your competitor who's offering something very similar has a better main image, so it's more clickable. You have to remember, though we like to think we buy based on logic, what's appealing to our eyes and what captures an emotional response from us usually is going to lead to our purchasing behavior. So if you have to, split test your image, but this is one of those things that is, you know, this is going to be interchangeable for both of these, okay? So these are the ways you're going to handle A and B. And again, this was a pretty high level training. I just wanted to give you guys a framework to consider when auditing your PPC, okay? Because ACoS management should be one of those things that Amazon sellers take proactive measures in ensuring that they're profitable and their campaigns are scalable. And for something like this, I will say that my company ZonRush, we do at least per product 5 campaigns. So we make sure we're diversifying all of our seller accounts. Even if you have one SKU, we make sure to diversify your accounts for you, so that way you have product display ads, so we get your top competitors, exact campaigns, broad phrase, and auto. And with our AI software, we're making very smart decisions for Amazon sellers like that, okay? So we help you with diversification if you're still a little bit lost. But if you want to take the helm and, you know, do some of this yourself, then really consider auditing your current campaigns and applying this framework to them, okay? And again, guys, do not forget, like I said, I do have a private group. Join the private group by clicking the link below. I release a lot of high-level content there for free, and you'll be part of our awesome tribe. All right, guys? Well, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment below, like this video, and as always, guys, I'll see you on the next video. Take care.